I'm Chris. I'm here, the Education and Outreach Coordinator at the Upper Valley Food Co-op, which is where you are. This is our community center upstairs, and we love to do these little talks and show movies, and we have game night and assorted things happening. And we're really lucky to have Olivia here today. She's actually on staff. You've probably seen her as a cashier, but she has this whole other side. Presenter, speaker extraordinaire. And so we're really lucky to have you. And I believe Olivia's going to start with a little projection, and then we'll flip the lights on fully so that our friend from CATV can get a clear view. And I'm going to be taking photos as well. If anybody does not want their photo to appear, I tag nothing, but if you don't want it to appear in any of our promotional social media, please let me know. Take it away.
Cool. Sure, be great. So yeah, I'm Olivia, and I'm an ambassador for B0, which is a zero waste nonprofit based in Boulder, Colorado. A lot of what we do is educational outreach to our communities, teaching them about zero waste lifestyle and circular economy. So, tune up to.
It's doing its thing.
Well, maybe we can introduce ourselves around. Okay, do you want to start? Sharon, do you want to start?
Oh, hi, I'm Megan Chapman. I have to go find my friend. She has no idea how to get in. Well, that worked really well.
I scared them off.
It's been done.
Yeah.
I'm Sharon. I came up from Springfield, Vermont, where I live, to hear Olivia on my day off, but I work downstairs.
All hail.
My name is Simon Dennis, and I live here in White River Junction at the Center for Transformational Practice. And I'm excited to reduce my trash usage and kind of glean a little inspiration around that as well.
I'm Kevin Leverett. I live in White River Junction also, and I'm interested in minimizing the waste I produce. So I think this is a place to come to.
I'm Gail Lewis, and I live in Lebanon, and I'm very interested in hearing how you lived a year without really producing any trash. That's amazing.
I'm Carol Perry. I work downstairs, and I know a little, and I want to learn a lot.
I'm Liz, and I'm just here. Just here.
I'm Devin Wilkie. I'm a West Lebanon resident, and I'm also interested in the subject matter, reducing waste.
I'm Teresa Cheeks. I live in Barnard, and I find it a fascinating topic and want to learn more about it.
I'm Brenna Colt. I live in Wilder, and always ready to pick up more information and do my fair share.
Hi, I'm Stacey Hopkins. I have the scavenger gallery here in White River, and I live in Heartland. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say too. I feel guilty every time I have to throw something away because there's so much plastic in the world, and I just feel like there's nothing I can do about it. So it's just, I want to, go in that direction.
My name is Riley Post-Kinney. I'm from South Royalton. I've been to several of Olivia's talks, and every single one of them I seem to pick or grasp something different that I didn't grasp at the previous one or something, and I'm also a friend of hers, so I'm happy to be here.
I'm Sadiq Dufour. I'm Olivia's boyfriend, and I live with her, and I've seen her through this whole process. So.
She's like, don't throw that away!
You're sitting on the couch.
I'm gonna get toothpicks out of that.
Sadiq's been able to reduce his trash dramatically since I started. So it's been great. Hey guys.
Hi.
Yeah, she's in the auto water.
Whoopsie, she's the address and then you know.
Miss Pingle.
Took her,
Oh, I did.
put into her GPS. Thank you.
Mhm.
Took her to the other.
Oh,
Interesting. Yeah. So, who knows?
You guys, we just finished up introduction, so.
Okay. I'm John, and I live here in White River Junction. Is there more to it?
That's,
No,
that's
it's,
good.
And I'm Hannah, and I also live here in White River Junction at the Center for Transformational Practice for 7 years.
So you guys are kind of like in an awkward spot. We're gonna do a presentation. I didn't know if maybe we could. There's plenty of
There's some
chairs.
chairs over there
we could,
as well.
or we
Move
could sit
your
on the
chairs.
floor or something.
If you want to stand, you can stand back here.
Like, we'll sit on the floor. Sorry.
More room?
Sorry, you tried it.
No problem. I can see that.
Cool. All right, we'll begin. So, as you probably know, this workshop is called Talking Trash. When I first started my zero waste journey, I found this this saying. I always thought it was like reduce, reuse, and recycle, and that was all. And when I found this really like inspired my whole way of thinking about how I consume and my trash production. So the first part is rethink. And so whenever I'm out, like I'm trying to rethink on the way I see the world and how I play my role as a consumer. Refuse is probably my favorite one because living zero waste has taught me to be really assertive. And I'm constantly refusing things, whether it's plastic straws at restaurants or at the grocery store. And then reduce and reuse, as you guys probably know. Repair has probably been the most difficult one for me because I'm not very savvy. So if I rip in my jeans, like I think I have the rip right here, and I have to figure out how to repair.
Sew-up going on.
Yeah, exactly. But luckily, I know a lot of resourceful people who've been very helpful. And then regift. I'm always giving stuff away that I didn't want or whatever. Recover and then recycle. So when you think of zero waste, recycle should be at the last, because it should be like your last resort. Recycling takes up a lot of energy, and depending on the recycling companies you go to, they might not be able to recycle the products that you're bringing to them. So therefore, and like for example, at my college, I talked to some of the janitors there, and I was asking them about recycling, and one of them told me that if there's even a dirty napkin in the recycling bin, they throw everything away. So you can imagine what that did to my little heart. I was like, what? No. But so I try to do recycling as the last resort. And then so what does zero waste mean? Zero waste is actually referring to an industrial term, referring to the manufacturing of circular economy. And currently we live in a linear economy. So that means we design, we manufacture, and we consume, and trash is the end product. But with a circular economy, we're redesigning our materials so that we don't produce trash. So because we don't live in a circular economy, it's hard to, trash is inevitable. And I try to tell a lot of my friends who are trying to start zero waste that because of that circular linear economy, we're gonna have to produce some trash. So for example, in my jar, things that I wasn't able to put in there are like my broken windshield or my destroyed tires. And those were things that because I have to have a car living in rural Vermont, I wasn't able to refuse those trash. It also means just reducing your trash intake. And not saying eliminate all trash, but just reduce the trash that you produce. And then a more personal one is applying my values. Knowing that what I believe I'm actually living out in my life. And it feels good to be able to do that. Yeah. And then So this was like on the cover of the Talking Trash paper or advertisement. So over here are my jars for whenever I go grocery shopping. I buy all my food unpackaged. And I bring my mason jars in, I weigh them, and I put it on my phone, the weight, and then the PLU for the foods. This you can't really see, but it's a can of chickpeas. One of the most obnoxious things about living zero waste was being able to get my protein in with the beans and the chickpeas and having to stand in my kitchen for 2 hours waiting for them to cook. But one of my friends, Sharon Irwin, who actually works here, taught me how to can, and that was my first can of chickpeas. So it made it a lot easier to be able to get a can like a normal person and not have to wait 2 hours to cook it.
Something I do is I let my beans soak overnight.
Yep.
And that way I don't have to wait. They're ready to start cooking. It doesn't take that long after that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also a really lazy person, so I was like, this has to be as easy as possible. I cannot have to put too much. I don't want to put too much thought in it. And so over here is my to-go stuff. This is pretty much my lifesaver. Every day I pack a to-go bag. I put it in a canvas bag. So in my canvas bag I put a tiffin, just in case I end up going out to eat or I need to put extra food in, like leftovers in something, or if I want to bring a meal with me, a napkin, bamboo utensils, and then right here is a stainless steel straw. This is a cotton bag, just in case I want to get something that I don't want to put in my tiffin. Over here I have another cotton bag. This is a cotton produce bags. Working at a grocery store, I definitely see a ton of plastic bags being used on to carry produce. And one of the things that was kind of I looked up if there was any negative impacts of that, and I found out that having the plastic rub on your food is actually not that healthy for you. So I love these produce bags. You can definitely make them at home. I think one time I used a small pillowcase. So I definitely get creative with that, but I bought that one here. And then this is a tea holder. And I'm sure you guys know what that does. So. So I discovered zero waste 1 year ago. Sadiq actually stumbled upon blogger Lauren Singer from Trashers for Tossers. And she had been living zero waste for 4 years. And she had a mason jar the size of mine of trash for 4 years. Yeah, so I was blown away, and I didn't believe that she was able to do it. And I was like, no, this is a joke. How do we even know that she's actually doing it? But I was able to do some more research, and I found out how she was able to do it. And so Lauren was kind of what really shifted my mindset of zero waste. And she was inspirational. Although she was inspirational, she also lived in New York City, came from a middle-class home. She had optimal resources. So I wasn't able to really identify with her. But I was able to do some more research and find other bloggers and people who were doing zero waste, who lived in rural areas and were broke college students and didn't have a lot of resources, which was cool. And then I also found Bea Johnson from Zero Waste Home, who's pretty much the most incredible woman. She's able to live zero waste with her entire family. She has 2 sons and her husband and a dog. If you get the chance, I would definitely look her up. She has a book called Zero Waste Home. And Bea is kind of the guru for the zero waste movement. And then I found Be Zero with Andrea Sanders. And like I told you, I'm an ambassador for Be Zero. And Andrea is really awesome. She is more community-based, which I like. Yeah, she's cool. And then, so when I found out about zero waste, I thought about my history of trying to be an environmental activist. And as a kid, I was definitely that. I was very radical, and I remember like one time my grandfather tried to cut down our tree, and like I like climbed up the tree, and I like run away in DC for our class trip to go protest. But I was doing a lot of things that didn't, like, I wasn't really looking at ways that I was interacting with my world. I was more like, you shouldn't use plastic, and you should recycle, and you should do all these things. But then I'd go home and I'd drink from a plastic water bottle, and I wasn't really doing anything. And that's where that like applying my values came in. I started looking more internally, like how, like before I judge other people, like I need to judge myself, not harshly, but need to really reevaluate myself and my thinking. And just be the change that I wanted to see in the world. And I thought that maybe if I start living my values, I could be an example rather than preaching to people. So my first step was evaluating my trash. So I came home, and I'm not sure if Sadiq remembers this, but I went through my trash and I divided my trash into like what could be composted, what could be recycled, and what trash could be avoided altogether. And what I found out was most of my trash was food scraps. So my first step was to compost. Luckily, I was able to compost at home because my family has chickens, and we were doing that already. But other ways that people could compost is you can order online composting buckets with worms. So yeah, and composting reduced my trash just dramatically. And then my second thing that I noticed was a lot of packaged foods was a huge part of my consumer trash intake. So I started going food shopping unpackaged. And I'm not sure if you guys I think most of you been inside the co-op, like downstairs with the bulk area. So that was my first big food shop, was bringing my mason jars, which at the time was not very zero waste because I was like, okay, let me go buy all this stuff to live zero waste. But then I remembered that we have experience jars here. So I started going food shopping unpackaged. I brought some produce bags to get my vegetables and fruits, and that was fun. Even today I still forget sometimes to put my PLUs. So any of you feel guilty about that, I do all the time.
What is that?
PLUs. So in bulk items, there's a number for each bulk item, and then when you go to the register, you give that PLU, and then the tare. Yeah.
It means price look up.
Oh, okay. So it has
Price look up number.
word.
Thank you.
PLU.
And then my third one was DIY. The other trash I was producing was from my deodorant stick, my toothpaste bar, and other like bathroom products. So I started making my own deodorant, toothpaste, lotion, laundry detergent, house cleaning stuff. And the toothpaste, which I'm going to have you guys make tonight, was probably the hardest. It was just absolutely disgusting for me. But I was able yeah, just to prep you, it was a hard transition. I'm going to be real with you guys. That was like the hardest transition. But now, like a couple of months ago, I used regular toothpaste because I had forgotten to make my own. I used Sadiq's toothpaste, and I felt so sick the rest of the day. So it's incredible. So that was awesome. And there's so many blogs out there, zero waste blogs, and so many resources with a whole bunch of different recipes. And it's so much fun exploring because you get to choose what's right for your body. And so I've done a lot of experimenting. I've used Sadiq as a guinea pig for a lot of the experimentation. So it's been awesome. And then and then the fourth was simplifying. This isn't really a prerequisite to zero waste lifestyle, but it definitely helped me make my transition better. So I started living more minimally. and I gave away all of my stuff that I didn't use daily. So I ended up having only 2 suitcases worth of items that I own. And simplifying gave value back to the things that I had, and it also made me less distracted with the things I owned and allowed me to feel more liberated and enjoy being outside more and going to events or whatever, and just being more involved in my community. And also gave me, and part of the value was like treating my stuff well. And I was just telling Sadiq this, I was like, I was going to go fold my laundry and he's like, oh, you need to rush, like come on, we gotta go. And I was like, I don't have very many clothes, like I can't like destroy these clothes. Like, so I'm definitely very careful with the things that I have, and they last a long time because of that. So other transitions I made was buying a reusable razor. The reusable razor I bought, stainless steel, it cost $40, and then 100 little razor blades cost a couple of dollars. I've gone through maybe a handful of those razor blades, and although that initial cost was pretty expensive, it saved me a ton of money. Another one is compostable toothbrushes. I get my toothbrush from Brush with Bamboo. And if I'm not composting the toothbrush, I use it to scrape like edges to the room or other nasty areas that I don't want to use another brush for. And a Diva cup and reusable pads are great. You save a ton of money. A Diva cup is about $50.
What is it?
So Diva cup is a menstrual, instead of using like pads or tampons, you can use a Diva cup, and it inserts like a tampon, and then the reusable cotton pads are for instead of, yeah. So that was awesome. The $50, it was pretty expensive, but you just saved a ton of money, not having to buy. You girls, you women probably can, it's just so expensive buying tampons and pads. And then canvas bag, I mean you can get those at thrift stores, whatever, but yeah, that was awesome to have, because wherever I bought my canvas bag, if I wanted, like if I was just going out and I needed to pick up a couple of groceries, I already had a canvas bag, so I could just put my groceries in that bag. Sometimes I'll carry a regular purse with my canvas bag, but usually I just keep my canvas bag. And within that canvas bag, I have my to-go stuff for the day. And I always keep my keys and my wallet in there, so that way I never forget it. And then water bottle, easy transition. Stainless steel straws, they're awesome. I bring them wherever I go, especially when I'm at restaurants. It's really cool being like, no, I don't want that plastic straw. I brought my own. And they have like the bendy straws. Riley has a straw. Yeah, he has a straw. Do you want to show us? They're awesome.
I work in a kitchen and we're required to have straws in our drinks. And I got sick of like I drink coffee in the kitchen and stuff, and I can't drink coffee through a plastic straw.
Ooh.
Right.
But you can through this.
Yeah. I just watched a short YouTube video on like the life cycle of a straw. It was pretty
Devastating.
It was pretty devastating.
All of the restaurant, all the restaurant material is like so disposable.
Yeah. And like one value I learned within like bringing my own stainless steel straw is like the power of a consumer. Like I became so assertive going through this transition, like going to a restaurant and be like, I don't want a straw, was something I probably would have done a year ago. Like, okay, I wouldn't like it, but now I'm like, no, thank you, please don't give me a straw. But that's one of those things that sometimes happens, and you just like, you have to remember back to that linear economy. We don't live in an economy that supports a zero waste lifestyle. So when things like this happen, it's just because of our culture. And so like I don't like, sometimes someone asks me like if I yell at the waitresses and stuff. Not my character, but. And then a napkin. A napkin was hard for me to remember, as well as a handkerchief, but I just keep those in the bag too. So this is me eating a Bull Loco with Sadiq, and my tiffin, my bamboo. I think that one's a fork. And I went in and I was like, I'd like to get a burrito. Can I get a bowl? I gave them a container. They gave me a discount, which a lot of places, specifically in Upper Valley and other places I've been to, give a discount for bringing your own. Yeah, it is pretty cool. And actually, when I found out, Steve and I did an experiment, and we found out that they give you more when you bring your own container. So, FYI. This was supposed to be a small, ended up being an original burrito. So, but I paid for a small. Yeah, and me being happy.
As somebody
Huh?
Where are you eating?
I'm eating a Bull Loco, which is a burrito place in Hanover. Yeah, and then my napkins on my lap.
So I'm sort of surprised that they would, because there are times when they don't want you to use your own, you know, a cup or whichever, because I think part of it is they feel as though, well, if it's not really washed well enough, they don't want to be blamed if you get sick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great that restaurants will do that, I just,
Well, I guess it's your own problem.
So-
you can bring your own.
Some places
Well,
are like that.
The way
Yeah.
that a lot of places that do that, as a restaurant insider, is they will actually run it through their dishwasher. Most industrial dishwashers take less than a minute to wash things. So when you bring them a container, if it's dishwasher safe, they'll run it through their dishwasher, that cuts them off from any liabilities or anything, and then put your food in it and send it out.
So yours is stainless steel, is it?
Yep. And like specifically for the Upper Valley, people are very low key about it, and I haven't had any troubles doing that. But I mean, like we went to Boston once, and like someone said no to me, but like it was like so hard. Like I was like, okay, like I'll just go. But yeah, the Upper Valley is pretty laid back with that. But and like even places like Tucker Box, I've done it, and they're awesome. Like this, we went there the other day, and the waitress had a whole zero waste thing set up for me. She brought me a reusable napkin and everything. I didn't ask, so that was pretty cool. She got a decent tip. Yeah.
Have you found that any of the restaurants are interested in talking about reducing waste? Or reverting from plastics and stuff?
It's
more?
hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, like Boloco, like the people there, all the workers there, they were really interested in having a conversation in ways that they personally could reduce their trash, not as a business. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
It's really hard to make it as a restaurant nowadays anyway. And I've talked to my bosses trying to get this done multiple times, and it cuts into the bottom line a good 30%.
Well, it's weird,
which
like,
is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense, but
well, I mean, you can throw
Yeah.
stuff away, but I mean, like, sometimes there's just, you know, they're using so much plastic and so many disposable or non-compostable, like, to-go materials and stuff. So I didn't know if that
Well, I think that like if more people started coming into these businesses with the expectation that they should reduce their trash and that you're not going to be buying from them if they only will offer you those items, I think we could have like a culture shift. But I don't think like just me going in there, I don't think they would see anything. But like I've gone in with a group of my friends and they're like, oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
just as kind of a general example, we looked at getting rid of paper napkins and just going with regular reusable napkins. And because we do not have an on-site wash facility, all of that we're shipping and stuff, and that comes up to being somewhere around $18,000 a year getting that stuff cleaned and shipped, whereas it only cost about, I'm just ballparking the numbers, I don't remember them exactly off the top of my head, but it only cost about, each little napkin you see is less than a cent. And we go through maybe 4 pallets a year, and each pallet is a couple $100. So it's a huge companies are looking at finding ways to do it, but unless you have a huge, like a hotel restaurant where you have on-site washrooms, it's hard.
Yeah, and I've had some businesses tell me like, oh, we'll give you a discount on this because you're actually saving us money by not using those items.
Where do you get your stainless steel? Dish
To go.
Stuff? Yeah, I get them from the co-op. I'm not trying to like promote anything, but I get them all at the co-op.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
We have them downstairs.
Some of them are on sale. Yeah, down in the gift section.
We have the lowest prices.
Yeah. Down in the gift section, we have the tiffins, we have the bamboo utensils, we have the stainless steel straws. We have it all.
Great.
Yeah.
How do you wash the straw?
So the straws come with a special thing.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, that you just
Yeah.
Pipe cleaner.
Yeah, you
Pipe
stick
cleaner.
it, it's like a metal pipe cleaner.
Yeah.
that you use.
Okay. Okay, great.
So some of the pros of zero waste. Saving money is a huge one. It's usually the thing that I get most people to like really reconsider how much trash they take in. So for example, buying in bulk saves me a ton of money. I have a half-gallon mason jar that I usually get my oatmeal in, and the same amount of oatmeal, well actually probably more oatmeal that I have in there.
Yeah.
So I used to get the individual package one that would come with 6 organic non-GMO oatmeal, and that costs about 6 something, tax included, to buy that. Also, they're just like such small proportions, but whatever. And then I got my half-gallon mason jar one, and that cost me $1, $1.50 probably. And that's true for most of my things. I've been able to reduce my grocery bill in half by not buying my packaged foods. And actually, when we buy packaged foods, 15% of that is just buying that packaging. Yeah.
A lot of it is just
And
buying packaging.
Huh?
So a lot of it is just buying the actual package itself.
Yeah. And then also I save money like when I go, like if I'm traveling and I bring my own food, because I don't want to use, like if I'm on a plane, like not using their food or whatever. And then knowing what's in my products is really important for me. Before I would just buy products where I didn't know what half the ingredients were, or not even being able to pronounce half those ingredients. And now I really know where, like what every ingredient is in all my products. And it feels good to be able to have, like, it feels empowering to be able to know what's in your products. Yeah. And then healthy eating. So because I buy because I buy all my food either in bulk or in the produce section, it really limits how much junk food I have access to. So I've been able to really eat healthy because of this. And then just being a mindful consumer, using my consumer voice in a lot of different settings, whether it's a restaurant, and saying like no thank you, and like sometimes I'll call, if I'm buying something online, I'll call them and I'll ask if any of their things are wrapped in plastic packaging, and if they say yes, I would just be like, hey, like I really love your product, but I don't love that it's wrapped in plastic. It would really, I would consider buying this if you were able to ship this for me without any plastic. And a lot of places, like most places, are really open to that. If it means you're gonna buy their stuff. Cons. Sometimes it can be very time consuming, as far as like what I told you about the beans and the chickpeas. Prepping meals and having like lentils or whatever. It's a lot of those dry foods that I buy in bulk that can be time consuming. And I was able to find an alternative solution, which was canning. But even that, you need to like 5 hours of your day to canning. But at least you can do other things while you're doing that. There can be potential initial costs with things like the razor or Diva cup or menstrual pads, or even like the tiffins or the bamboo utensils. And then some other things that can be costly is, I mean, eating healthy is expensive. I was able to reduce my grocery bill buying in bulk, but still like eating healthy produce, like organic local foods can be expensive. And I often remind myself like being zero waste and being able to eat this healthy is a privilege. And I'm able to live, luckily I'm able to work in a place that I get a discount in, and live in a really beautiful place where I have access to lots of farms and cheap, healthy, organic produce. But I know like for some people, like I think where my sister lived, the closest recycling center was about an hour away. They had to pay for it. And buying healthy foods was just outrageous, especially going to co-ops or whatever was outrageous. So you do what you can with what you have. And I know places like Stearns, you can get most of their produce unpackaged, and they're super affordable.
Olivia, also, you can reduce your medical bills.
Exactly.
That's a big one. As you get older, it's a really big one.
Yeah, and that's like where the initial cost. So Trash for Tossers has a really great two-step way to start. One is to evaluate your lifestyle. Like I told you, I went through my trash. You don't have to be as hardcore as that, like touching your trash. But just really being mindful of like where's most of my trash coming from? Whether it's food scraps or packaging or from your hygiene products. And then also look at where you are at. Like what can I afford? What would be the easiest transitions for me? Some really easy cheap transitions are going to restaurants, refusing any like disposable items. Refusing single-use disposable items costs you no money, and it's an easy transition to make that you don't have to put a lot into. And bringing your own bags to the grocery store, also very simple transitions. When I went, I didn't have I was just a college student. I'm still a college student, but not much has changed. But so I was in a place where I could really go full throttle into this. But if I was to do it again, even now, I would take very smaller transitions instead of just being because I made up my decision a night before, and then the next day I was like, okay, no more trash. But I wish I did it differently because the first couple of months were kind of rough. For everybody in my household.
I was there.
I just have a little question. When you said that, if you recycle something that's a little bit dirty, then it ruins the whole batch. Was that on campus, or is that also when you take things to recycling?
Oh no, that was specifically for my college.
Yeah.
But I know for certain, if there is I know a lot of recycling companies, if there is certain products that are within that bin, they throw a lot of it away.
Which is just it's most of them sort through it nowadays anyway.
Yes.
Not all of them, but the majority of the ones around here anyway do.
Exactly.
And the truth is, the process behind recycling them is they put it through a really hot fire.
Yeah.
And melt all the plastic down. So any paper or trash or anything, that's the biggest issue is other kinds of plastics that don't melt and fuse with that plastic that make it brittle and stuff.
Yeah.
But like paper and wood and stuff like that, if a little bit of that gets in, it's just gonna burn off.
Yeah, and recycling has kind of been the Band-Aid. It doesn't matter how much trash you produce, as long as you recycle some of most of your trash. And because it takes so much energy, it doesn't really. And I'm not saying don't recycle, because no, I'm not saying that, but still recycle. But just reduce how much you recycle. And then begin to make those transitions, what you're comfortable with. And like I said, there's tons of resources of people who are just starting out, people who've been doing it for years, easy, cheap transitions, and then more involved transitions.
the moral of this.
Okay. So every day I look at this picture and it kind of motivates me and inspires me each day. And really thinking about my ego and how, and versus my ego, and really making sure that I'm not at the center of that. I mean, I'm not at the top of that. Cool. So, do you guys have any questions?
So do you know of any places around here that may repair certain items? You know, if you have like electrical, you know, say I've got a lamp that, well, it's kind of a silly lamp, but I actually did go into Illuminations and see if they were repaired. And they said it wouldn't be worth repairing for what it costs, things like this. So any places you know where, you know, you can just even give someone something, and whether they want to give it to someone else or recycle it, but I don't want to pay to, you know, I don't want it, I don't want to pay to fix it, but I don't want to throw it out.
I used to live in Thetford, and you could bring anything you wanted to the recycling place, and things that were, you know, like partially usable. A lot of people picked up. I picked up like 2 or 3 different vacuum cleaners there that weren't working, but it was easy enough to fix. If you have something that you can't fix, maybe somebody else can fix it.
Right.
So like, you might want to go over to your recycling, wherever your recycling is.
Yeah, I live in the wet, West Lebanon. I
You
don't
could-
know
you
if
could
they
probably-
want, I think what they would do is, probably just throw like the glass in the glass and that's just.
Could be, but you might try some other communities. You know, like drop over and say, or give them a call and say, hey, can I drop this off? Because like lamps, that's you know, like it's pretty primal. You know, like it's just a wire going in, wire going out, and a lamp in the middle.
You too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, also if you're feeling ambitious, the internet is your friend.
I'm
used-
not.
Oh, okay. I feel you because
There's
I'm not
enough that I
usually.
do, I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna start doing that, and, I mean, I don't mean to be, you know, there's just like, I know I'm not gonna do it, I don't have the time to, but I
Yeah.
think it still could be serviceable, it still looks nice, but, it's not worth spending the money to,
Mhm.
you know, it's maybe a $20 lamp that, you know, the guy in Illumination said it costs $15 to fix, for him to fix.
For him to fix.
Right, for him to fix, and not even, I think, charging me charging me the labor. And it's like, oh, forget it, that's not worth it. So it still sits there, and I don't want it in my house anymore.
Cool.
But-
Yeah,
Bring
and
it
this-
over here next time. I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
I'll charge you.
Yeah, you can have it, 'cause I don't want it.
Yeah.
Take that apart.
And this is why I think it's important, like with
It's a
B0,
community.
having to doing that community outreach, because they're like, after I had bought things like, for example, menstrual pads, I found out that one of my friends in the community actually makes them and sells them. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'd rather have given you the money than this company. And that happened with a lot of things, like whether the canning or, you know, there's just so many people in our, in our small community that are so resourceful. So like really I'm trying to cultivate that community action and help people connect with other people in the community. But actually, I will write that down. And if I find anyone, I haven't stumbled on that problem yet. But if I do find someone, I will definitely let you
Or
know.
even any sort of electronic type, you know, 'cause those are usually the things that I'm not going to fix. I'm not even gonna look how to fix it because, again, don't really have, but, you know, you wind up with odds and ends that are still, you know, they'd be serviceable if you knew how to fix it.
Yeah,
The-
and other
the
technology you can
electronic-
bring to a TerraCycle.
The electronic things are different kettle of fish because you know they're microchips and like
Right.
there's all these circuits that are very complex and really what the only way you can service it is to swap one chip in and the other one out, or actually probably just the board. You know, so like it's a whole bunch of chips. So but lamps, washing machines, things like that.
For electronics, though, there are companies out there, and I know my recycling center has them, until they're opened. But not, I don't know if every recycling center does, but they have boxes that you can put them in, and those get shipped to companies that, whether the thing works or not, they pull it apart, take all the components out that are still viable, and use those to refurbish ones that may be refurbishable, or to make new ones or whatnot, or melt all the precious metals in there down to make other things.
So we're gonna go do one more question, and then we're gonna segue to making the toothpaste. So Simon.
Yeah, it's just, you said that your transition was kind of abrupt in the beginning, 'cause you just went cold turkey and then.
Yep.
And you talked about the toothpaste as being one hurdle, but were there other aspects that were really a struggle for you in the beginning, in that first?
Yeah.
Can you say something about?
Things like handkerchiefs, and also just like not having a culture that really supports in it. So like feeling like shy about bringing my own or whatever it was, and like my friends being like, "What are you doing? Like, you're embarrassing us." But and then laundry detergent was scary because I didn't want to ruin my clothes. I didn't know how to cook before, so I'd buy packaged foods. So that was definitely a hurdle, like having to teach myself how to cook. Making like different products like broth, not broth, stock, things like that, which were time consuming, kind of risky in the fact that like I had like to invest money in something that might not come out well, and I was just nervous about that. Deodorant was kind of, I was like, I don't think I smell, but like I wonder if other people think I smell. That was kind of weird.
Sadiq wouldn't dare tell you what you did, right?
Oh,
I will. The safety razor was hard because I thought I was going to cut myself, but I haven't cut myself once on that. Oh wait, no, I have once. It was the first time I was using it, but other than that, I haven't cut myself. So like just being really apprehensive, starting new things and new projects, it was hard.
Some of us older people remember when
Those razors.
razors were all, you just took out the old blade and put a new one in.
Yeah.
I mean, cut ourselves.
And then another really difficult thing was finding hair products for myself. So I get a shampoo bar and bulk conditioner downstairs, and that's not really specific to African American hair. And it's been okay, but it hasn't been like amazing. So things I haven't been able to purchase, like deep conditioners. So like the other day, I bought mayonnaise, packaged mayonnaise, which was like crazy. I was like, oh my god, I'm failing. But like my hair really needed it, and it was starting to become damaged, not having deep conditioning and not having specific products for my hair. And it was just amazing. But it was like one of those treat yourselves type of things. But one rule I've really try to keep myself to is that like you have to take care of yourself first. So like for example, medication, like I've had moments, like I've had an experience where I really need medication, and I wasn't gonna like put myself in harm's way or whatever. And I know that's very, very different than my hair, but
You mean because it came in a package?
yeah.
Yeah.
So not really, and like the other day I got cut and my stepmom used her Band-Aid to put on my cut, and like, so just take care of yourself first, like don't go to the extremes. Yeah. Okay, one more and then we're gonna segue.
Are you vegan? Vegan?
I'm not vegan, but I only cook plant-based meals.
Okay, so my kids are, and they're both girls, and they have the hair thing, conditioning.
The what?
Conditioning cheese, mayonnaise, and that's got eggs in it, so they can't use it. Do you have any other recommendation?
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil,
For
yeah. My
deep
sister's
conditioning?
vegan and she
Coconut oil.
uses coconut oil for everything.
Coconut oil, olive
Period.
oil.
Then you
Yeah,
have to wash
I use
that out
olive oil
later,
too.
it's
Olive oil
greasy.
work.
No,
Yeah, well, the coconut oil acts as both of
A little bit goes a long way.
the mayonnaise acts both as a deep conditioner and as a protein treatment. But there's so many resources. out there. I did what was like good for my
Well, no.
specific hair type. So now I'm going to teach you how to make toothpaste. I was given these really awesome little jars from someone from Vital Communities, and they're really great like tester jars. And we have some baking soda, olive oil, and peppermint essential oil, and that's all you really need for toothpaste. And you can be mindful with whatever essential oil you want.